Hey guys, it's Angie Atkinson here, and today at QueenBeing.com, we are going to discuss 7 red flags of emotional abuse in your family. And this is another chapter on our narcissistic abuse recovery thing. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to learn today to recognize emotional manipulation from family members. Okay, so first of all, I want to define what emotional manipulation really is. Okay, it is a way that other people try to change your behavior. Okay, your thoughts, your feelings, all of this through misleading practices, right? So these practices can be totally harmful to everyone involved, including the person doing the manipulation, but we'll get to that. In the case of a toxic narcissist, though, it can be it can literally take you to a place where you can sort of lose your real self, okay? And this obviously becomes more of a concern for people who have a narcissist in their everyday reality, okay? Often a member of the family, okay? So when a family member tries to use emotional manipulation to control you, whether or not you are someone who, or they are someone who could be identified as someone with narcissistic personality disorder or NPD, doesn't really matter because what it comes down to is that someone who is manipulating you within your family is someone who's going to make your life absolutely miserable. Okay. And, you know, not only does no one like to be controlled, but no one wants to be told that they're not good enough and that they're not someone who is someone not worthy, and whether a narcissist or a manipulative person uses those words or not, you almost always know that that's how they feel about you, like you're not really a real person, and you begin to feel that way about yourself as well. All right. However, I'm going to share with you 7 signs today that one of your family members might be trying to manipulate you, and for your own benefit, if you can learn these signs and learn how to, be aware of it and discover it, you know, you can really begin a really big healing process on your part. So, because the truth is that the first step to any solution is discovery of the problem, followed closely by understanding the problem, and eventually that can lead to overcoming the problem, at least in my own experience, right? So, let's start with this. Number one, denial of the truth. Okay, this is the first red flag of emotional abuse. One of the most common ways that a family member, can use emotional manipulation is to simply deny the truth. So this is a key sign of, of emotional manipulation, emotional torture, emotional abuse, my friends. Okay, the person who is manipulating you will often make a promise or a statement, and then they'll deny it later. They will pretend that the truth doesn't exist. They will conveniently blame your bad memory for it. That's also a form of gaslighting, by the way. And truthfully, you'll probably find that it's kind of hard to prove the truth without having, a recording, an email, or some other physical evidence proving your point. So in some cases, the manipulator will try to fight the evidence and, say, oh, you made that up, it's fabricated, and an emotional manipulator can make you feel as if it's your fault that you don't remember the previous conversation the same way. They can make you feel guilty and ashamed so that you don't even pursue the subject anymore. And, that is a very common form of gaslighting. We call it gaslighting. It's named after a 1944 film in which the husband basically messed with the wife's head until she thought she was crazy. And that's essentially what happens with gaslighting is that, they teach you to believe that things that you saw with your own eyes didn't really happen. Conversations that you had didn't happen, or they happened differently. And then you start to doubt yourself. That's how it works, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, so using guilt. Okay, that's number 2. Emotional manipulators frequently use guilt to control their family. Family members, that are doing this to you, they might use passive aggressive tactics to manipulate you. They might find your weak spots. This is a big one with narcissists. They will look for things that are easy to use against you to make you feel guilty. Okay, for example, I have a friend who, her narcissistic husband, he plays these little games with her head, and she will, be holding their child, their baby, And he will, if the baby cries, then the husband will say things like, oh man, that baby really loves me. Let me take him. He's saying, he likes me better than you, la la la. And of course, playing on her insecurities as a new mom, you can see her face just drop when he does this. And it's just frustrating to watch. And so, these are the types of things, these little sneaky things, emotional guilt, right? So, they're going to look for those weak spots. They're going to pretend to be victims too. This is the other thing. And you see this with narcissistic injury a lot, where, you'll start to feel sorry for them. And this is often how narcissists get a hold of those quote unquote flying monkeys, those people who, kind of do their bidding for them, sometimes willingly and sometimes without realizing what they're doing. They actually can help to increase the narcissist's reach and level the depth of his or her manipulation to you. Okay. So, if you refuse to go along with it, then they're going to accuse you of being insensitive and mean, And of course, they will, in fact, make you feel guilty in order to get sympathy. And this is another important sign that you have to keep your eye open for. Okay. Recognize that a narcissist has no problem using guilt to get what they want from you. Okay. Number three, using other people. This is back to our flying monkey business, right? Flying monkeys. Emotional manipulators will use your friends and other family members to hurt you. They may use them as messengers, as in the flying monkey situation, or mediators even to control you. Now, emotional manipulators are also going to use these people to send hurtful messages to you or to blame you for your issues. And by involving another person, they're able to blame someone else for the message being misinterpreted. So, if you say, well, your mother told me that, you said I was, you know, flying out the door and naked or whatever kind of crap they make up, then, a narcissist might go, well, I never said that. You misunderstood what my mother said, or my mother didn't mean it like that. She meant it this way, whatever. See, so they twist things. All right. Number four, anger and threats. Oh boy. Family members who are narcissists will often use their anger against you. Okay. And their threats to manipulate you. So, they use their own emotions, including anger, to frighten and coerce people in their families. And, threats and angry outbursts are used to make the other person feel uncomfortable and upset. And as someone who is, you know, generally what happens is that narcissists are very attracted to empaths, okay? And empaths are wired to react to strong emotion and to try to soothe it for the person. That is why, part of the reason why they are attracted to empaths in general, okay? But when you're in a family, if you're being raised by a narcissist, or you are being, this, or you have been raised by a narcissist, then one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to come out and you're going to be an empath because you either learned that behavior or it showed up in your life because you had to learn how to deal with someone like a narcissist, or you're going to come out being a narcissist yourself. Either way, you're going to be broken and you're going to be looking for something different, okay? And so this is something that you can do during your recovery, okay? Now, the thing is that, like I said, threats and angry outbursts are used to make you feel uncomfortable and upset. And emotional manipulators will use anger. And emotional manipulators are narcissists most of the time, in this case anyway. And they will often use anger to interrupt or stop a conversation they don't like, right? So, you might see a family member who refuses to discuss his affairs. Maybe he'll use an angry outburst and threats to end a conversation or storm out of the room. You know, in some cases, even when the narcissist is a female, the anger sometimes will escalate to physical violence, and it's important that if that's the case, that you get help. Now, something that I think is underreported and that probably happens more often than we recognize is that there are female physical abusers, and some men are too embarrassed to get help, and they're too shy or scared to tell anyone what's happening to them because, oh my god, she's just a girl, she's just a small, maybe you're even bigger than her, and you think, why am I letting this happen? Well, maybe that's because you are a decent person and you believe that hitting someone is not the answer, but because you're tolerating being hit, you're devaluing yourself by doing that. So if you are in a situation, whether you're male or female, Excuse me. If you are in a situation where you're being abused, physically abused, I would like you to visit Queen Being right now. And go to the page that, if you navigate to the resources page, you will find a page for, and it's in the upper left hand corner of the menu. Find the page for emergency domestic violence resources. There are ways that you can get out today if you really need to. Okay, your physical safety is paramount, and you cannot fix your head until your body's safe. All right. Okay, moving on. Number 5, belittling tactics. So family members who are narcissists might try to belittle you because this allows them to manipulate you more easily. Quite honestly, they criticize you and point out your flaws because it makes you feel inferior. And when you feel inferior, maybe you feel like no one else values you, or you can't do any better, or you can't get any further than your family members tell you that you can. And in that case, you become easier for them to control. You feel me? So what you have to do is remember that truly we are all limitless. We truly all have the ability to do literally anything we choose to do if we really want it. Okay, you can't just go, I'm a doctor and you're a doctor. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can decide that you want to be a doctor, and then you can figure out what are the steps to get from A to B. Okay, so here you are today, not a doctor, and here you are, at the end of your doctorate studies and internships and all this, a doctor. So what you have to do is figure out what you have to get from point A to point B, and then you break it down in bite-sized steps. Okay, so maybe the first thing you want to do to become a doctor is to start looking around, find out what school you want to go to, find out what the requirements are. That's step one. And then step two might be look into funding, look into, what you need to do in order to make this happen. And then you just go step by step until you get to the other end of the goal. It's a timeline kind of thing. It works really well. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. You know, don't allow an emotional manipulator, a narcissist, to force you to feel less than. Don't allow a narcissist to make you feel like you don't have the right to be happy, and don't allow anyone to tell you that you're less than awesome, because the fact is that we all have the ability to be as amazing as we choose to be. And the best possible way for you to reach the goals that of your life, the goals that make, that are your true self, the goals that your true self wants, not that someone told you should want, or not that someone, coerced you into wanting, but your true self. The best way to discover those goals is to find out what it is that makes you happy, what it is that is not about what your mom wants or your dad wants or your husband or your wife or anybody else. It's all about what makes your heart sing, what makes you feel like you're on the right path. When you feel that feeling of strength in your gut, in your soul, then you know. When it feels happy and good, when you get excited, that little feeling of excitement that you get sometimes. Oh, it's so exciting, and it just kind of pulls up in your chest and feels right. That's it. That's the feeling you're going for. When you know that feeling, when you know what it feels like, and you can understand how to get it, you're on the right path, my friend. All right? Don't be easy to control. All right? Number 6, focusing on vulnerable targets. This is what they do. They seek out sensitive people, aka empaths, okay, because it's easier to influence them. Again, as I said, not only do empaths naturally react to the pain and the emotional outbursts of a narcissist, but they deliberately, narcissists deliberately look for you to become vulnerable and insecure, and they see an empath as someone who is vulnerable and insecure, because the empath becomes, is open to them initially, because they look for people who are damaged. They look for people who maybe have a struggling relationship with their families, or they look for people who have, insecurity issues or whatever. So if you have been in a family situation where you've dealt with a toxic narcissist, chances are that you may end up with one in your lifetime. Okay, and this is unfortunate. But the fact is that narcissists are great at spotting your insecurities and using them against you, and so we all have this one major insecurity. I think humans all have it, and that is the fear of abandonment. Okay, now some of us have it in varying degrees, but the fact is that almost everyone is afraid on some level that, to be alone. And so what a narcissist will do is they will make themselves invaluable to you, so that you almost can't live without them. And they'll do this in a number of ways, sometimes financially, sometimes by, keeping control of your house, sometimes by, controlling your mind in different ways. But they turn it, they put you in this position where you can't make choices. You feel insecure, you feel alone without them, you feel vulnerable. And in the beginning, they may even seem kind of concerned about you, and they may use this time, this love bombing time that you go through, which is the phase at the beginning of a relationship, and sometimes sprinkled in again as they go through the devalue and discard phases. um, you know, the cycle always includes a love bombing phase, which is the time when everything seems perfect and wonderful. It's how narcissists keep their claws in you, because about the time you're ready to give up, they realize they were wrong, and they come back and they're, oh, I love you, I'm sorry, and we fall for it. And eventually we stop falling for it. But at that point, if you're still in it, you're still in it. And especially if it's a parent or someone that you can't just walk away from so easily, right? But sometimes you do have to walk away from parents. It's just how it goes. But you can't do that until you're of age and until you have a way to do that. So, you know, they they put you in this position where they collect this information about you, and then they try to control you, or they do control you by using your insecurities against you, whether they threaten to leave you, or in some cases, for example, I was told that I'm the only person who's ever always going to be here for you. And that was my manipulation. Regardless of what I was put through, I always thought, well, at least they'll always be there for me. And what I learned, in a very unfortunate way, was that that was not true. They would only be there for me as much as it was convenient and easy for them to do so. So, and finally, these emotional, manipulators, these narcissists, will dig deep to hurt you. Okay. They, like I said, sensitive people, empaths, these are more likely to become victims of family members who want to control them, whether they're narcissistic or not. And these people are less likely to stand up for themselves because they don't want to upset people. They are people pleasers. They don't want to hurt the people that love them, that they think love them, or the people they love. And they are much less likely in these situations to stand up for themselves or speak out at all against the behaviors and the abuses, because again, we don't want to hurt people. We don't want people to think that we're bad people, or maybe we question ourselves. Are we really the problem? These are things to think about. It's really important that you can spot these signs in a relationship, because it can literally save your life. Okay. You can recognize emotional manipulation. Okay. You can refuse to let a family member, narcissist, take control of your actions. Okay. And, you know, the fact is that these kinds of relationships are toxic. They're unhealthy for your soul, for your body, for your mind. They will certainly put your life in a place where you don't want it to be. And you deserve better than that. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you just got out of jail last week. I don't care if you're Donald freaking Trump, although Donald Trump might be on the emotional manipulator side, from what I've heard. I don't know him personally. But it doesn't matter who you are. Whoever you are, you deserve better than to be treated like you don't matter. Okay? You deserve better than to be treated, like you're not a person. You are a person. You have real thoughts. You have real valuable things to say. You are not somebody's extension. You are not somebody's, crutch. You are not somebody's tool, and you are not somebody's supply. Don't allow yourself to be somebody's supply, their narcissistic supply. Put yourself in the same kind of elevated position that you would put anyone else in the world. You know, if you're looking for a way to gauge this, think about how you would act. How would you want your own child, let's say, to be treated? Or how would you want, if you don't have a child, your niece or your nephew or your sister or your brother? How would you want someone you love to be treated by anyone else in the world? Give yourself that same kind of love, that same kind of support and treatment, you know? You have to seek professional help if you need to. Okay, whether that is, someone like me who is, I'm a certified life coach. I talk to people who are in and getting out of narcissistic abuse situations. Maybe you need a psychologist or a therapist. Maybe you need to talk to someone in a support group. Maybe you just need a good friend. You know, whoever it is that you can reach out to, you need to build that support network. Reach out for help if you need it. But the bottom line is that you've got to make positive changes in your life, and be prepared to let the relationship go if it's not changeable. Okay. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in a position to be miserable for potentially the rest of your life. And like I said, nobody deserves that. You deserve better. All right. That's all I've got for right now. Stay tuned later for another video. Have a wonderful week. And as always, if you have additional questions or you want to know more about narcissism and narcissistic abuse recovery, visit queenbeing.com. And you can also visit narcissismsupportcoach.com if you are looking for personal one-on-one coaching. I'm recently announced a big group coaching thing I'm doing with small groups. It's a little bit less. It's a lot less expensive than individual coaching, and the sessions are slightly longer. That's because there are more people involved, of course. The other thing that you can do is at that narcissismsupportcoach.com, you can pick up a free 5-day email course if you haven't done that yet, and that will help you to sort of start taking back your life. And finally, if you visit booksangieWrote.com, you'll be able to check out all of the books that I've written, well, at least the ones that are on Amazon right now, and you can get all of those for less than $4.99. And I think my bestseller is $2.99, so it won't cost you much at all. And if you have Kindle Unlimited or Amazon Prime, you can read it for free. So even better, right? All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.